How's it going, YouTube? So I have a Cadillac XLR here right now. For those of you who are not familiar with those, it's basically the Cadillac's version of the Chevy Corvette. Really cool cars, but just like any other, expensive car, everything has its little quirks. This specific vehicle had an issue with its hydraulic top. So it's got a hard top, which is really cool. You press the button, thing opens, closes. Well, this specific vehicle's owner said that all of a sudden it just stopped working, and it wasn't long after, I guess, one of their kids had left something in the trunk and maybe pushed the button a whole bunch. So I'm just going to show you some of the stuff on this. I am not an expert in these systems by any means. I just think it's a really cool system. And then for those of you, since I didn't see many videos on this specific top on YouTube, I figured I'd just do one really quick so that way you guys can kind of get an idea of what you're going to be getting into if you try to do this yourself and you don't have the proper tools or knowledge, so to speak. So with that being said, I'm going to turn the camera around and show you what we're going to be dealing with here. First things first, once you have all the interior out, obviously I've already pulled that. There's actually some of these guys, they actually spin out, just so you're aware of it, so you don't sit there and pull on them trying to figure out what you're doing to pull the plastic panels off the sides, if that's what you decide to do. This one I probably didn't need to pull both sides off because I know that there's a bunch of fluid over here, and I'm believing that this cylinder right here is my problem. But anyhow, so this is the hydraulic reservoir for this system. If they go below the minimum, even if this fluid level in general changes, then you probably have an issue. This isn't fluid that evaporates. This isn't fluid that just, needs to be topped off over time like you would have for, your engine and anything else. So please, if, the first thing you go to do and it's not working and you look at this and there's almost no fluid in it in relation to where it should be, then obviously that's your first step is going to be looking for a leak. There are a lot of hydraulic lines right here that all come from this reservoir here. You've got, I think it's like 6 or 8 pistons. I could be wrong on that number, so please don't quote me on that. Like I said, I'm not an expert in these systems by any means. You've got one here, one on the opposite side that I was just showing you, I'm pretty sure is my problem child, so to speak. You have some up on the deck lid. You got one on each side. You're gonna have another couple right in the corner here. These ones are the big guys. These are the ones that help pick the top up and pull it back, from my understanding. It's the same on this side over here. And then we got another one right in the middle, and if I understood correctly from what I was reading, there's also one in the headliner to help, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. The systems, all considering, are actually fairly simple, but be aware if it's not something you're used to working on, please be delicate and gentle because everything in these systems is expensive. Please do not fool yourself and think that, oh, it might just be a simple, easy fix. This could be opening a can of worms. Like I said, I pulled off all the panels knowing that I had an issue to begin with, since there's a bunch of fluid all over the place here. I don't know if you can see that or not. But it looks like this guy right here is going to be the problem. So I'm going to try to see if I can get the parts in for it and do a quick test of the system to see if I can actually get fluid to squirt out. I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory since it looks like there's no other piston that could have caused that. I checked up, down, left, right, so to speak. All of the hoses look like they're in good shape, which is, a good thing. But again, just stuff we want to kind of take care of. So as soon as I kind of have a better idea what's going on in here, I will be pulling and replacing parts once I get them in. Okay, kids, so finally we have our fluid in, and I actually lucked out. I was able to get it fairly quickly. To pull this nut off here, there was actually vacuum on this, which leads me to believe that because of the backpack that was left in here, it wasn't so much that I have a leaking line or piston. It might have just been too much pressure, so it allowed the fluid to seep past the seals in the cylinder. I could be wrong on that, fingers crossed. Anyhow, so what we did is I topped this off to the maximum line here, sealed the system back up. Now to bleed these vehicles, what we're going to be doing is we are going to cycle the top and the trunk. You do it one at a time, 5 times each in between. So it's not a just, pull it apart and then hope. It's cycle 5 times, take your time. Okay, so I mentioned before about you know, bleeding the system and how I felt that there could be a problem, but there might not be a problem as far as a leak's concerned. So it's good to have someone else with you to help inspect stuff while you're opening and closing this top to bleed it out. Specifically because you're not always going to see everything from where you are in the driver's seat, opening and closing the top. Right here, as you can see, this line has given up. So it's quite clear that this car needs a new hydraulic line, which isn't the end of the world, but you know, it will be fairly pricey and it's probably going to be not exactly fun to replace. But now we at least know what the problem is and we can go from there to fix it. Okay, so when I had started this video initially, I had notated that I thought that it was a cylinder. Now, right now, I'm opening the top enough so where I can show you what I ended up finding to be the problem. So, as you can see, when you open the top up, we have all sorts of hydraulic lines. Okay, so as I was telling you guys before, you know, there are multiple hydraulic lines on these cars. Once I opened the top up and I paid attention to what was going on, I found that this hose had actually kinked right up top here where this spring is. So, you know, obviously it's a wear point. What ended up happening, there was actually a pinhole leak in that. So what I did to resurrect this, so to speak, and, you know, make the system work was I actually bought a repair kit. So this is your original hose. This is the repair hose. Now, when you get these kits, I think it's Cabriolet Hydraulics. I'm going to add the link in the bottom of this video. So what it is it's actually a crush fitting. You cut out the length of area that you need to replace. And then from there, you put these fittings on and obviously you tighten them down so that way everything compresses together. Visually speaking, these hoses are a little bit smaller than your replacement hose. That's okay. On the factory website, it will show you the information as far as it goes on what will or won't work with these. So just something to kind of keep in mind. It's a little funky doing them, and you may not get it the first shot, but quite frankly, these lines are about $400 a piece to replace. So as you can see, I've got it up top here, and I've got it ran right through where the factory fittings went. And, you know, I've just got this roughly 11-inch long piece of hose that I replaced here. Then to bleed out the system, now obviously we want to come over here. I've already put all the interior back in, but back where we were dealing with that reservoir, we fill it up to the maximum level, and then what you're going to do is you're going to open and close it, so that way you bleed the system out. You want to do it about 5 times to be sure that you've bled the system completely. You're going to leave it for about 5 minutes in between each time, and that's how it bleeds. It's a self-bleeding system. You close it up, that's it.